Hello, welcome to day 4 of Lunch with Lisa. And we are super excited today to have Terri Trespicio. She is an award-winning writer, keynote speaker, and messaging pro. She also does a ton of hosting and moderating for events all over the country. Most notably, Terri has a TED Talk. I think we all at some point want to do a TED Talk. She's the best person to train you. Her Stop Searching for Your Passion has nearly 6 million views on it. And she trains teams and individuals to present on stage and on screen. And I'm thrilled to have her here. But before we get going, for those of you who received Terri's e-blast yesterday, I thought it was super funny that she referenced that we were on the Boston College Dance Team.
Yes.
And then she was posting that on LinkedIn. And I loved her writing. If you haven't seen it, let me know. I'll post it for you. I loved her writing about how she talked about the fact that when we were on the dance team, we were kicking our legs high and we needed to pivot. And quite frankly, it's no different than what we're doing now.
It is no different.
We're pivoting what we're doing. We're staying in place. And so one of the things I did joke with Terri about is that I was hoping that she would come today with her Screamin' Eagles dance team uniform on. She said, "I will if you will." And I said, "Challenge accepted." So hold on.
No.
Terri, I would like to know where your jacket is.
What? First of all, you know what? I quit the dance team before I got the jacket because I never had a jacket. So you are, yeah, I don't have.
Yes, you did. We all had jackets. Talk about a hoarder, huh? I knew exactly where that was.
Oh my God. Okay, you're better than me. But honestly, I didn't realize dancing when I really thought about dancing, which I haven't thought about in a long time. It is considerable training, precision, aiming high, and smiling big.
How about being live, right? I don't know if you remember this, and we'll get to the good stuff in just a second, but we were playing in the a bowl game. We were doing the halftime show of a bowl game. It was the CarQuest bowl game. And this is back when the cameras had all their cords. They weren't wireless yet, right? And they were cutting through the dance team with the cameras for the halftime show of the bowl game. And they wrapped around one of the girls and they're trying to get out of the cords in the middle of the halftime show.
What kind of an ass do you have to be to walk in the middle of a kick line with a wire? Like, are you kidding? I hope there was insurance somewhere in there. My God.
All right. So I'm going to start with the poll that I've been asking every single day. How are we doing working from home? If you have not responded yet, and most of you have not, so I'm only going to keep this open for another couple minutes. How are you managing working from home? I love comparing day to day. I love it. I hope I can work from home forever. It's working.
Do you like it? You would stay there?
What?
You would stay, Lise? You would like to stay working from home?
If I said that, my team would be very unhappy with me right now.
You're being very cagey. Yes. Okay.
So I can't wait to get back to work. No, I actually really enjoy working from home, but it's working pretty well for now as an option, or I can't wait to get back to the office. And these have been changing daily. So I'm looking forward to what your responses are in just a minute. But for now, Terri, you can take it away.
Oh, do we have to wait for a poll? I don't know how the poll.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do your thing. Well, Lisa and I were talking about this. I do a lot of and have done a lot of training for speakers, presenters. It really, to me, it's not about whether you're on a stage or whether you're not on a stage. And here's the interesting thing. Now that we're all on video, I have found that video is the great democratizer. Because what are you doing now? You're talking to us, you're looking at us on here, and when you go have a meeting, you'll be on here. And when you watch like Entertainment Tonight, Mario Lopez is going to be on Skype with J-Lo. Like, it has brought everything to the exact same level. And there's something weird about video. Then I was trying to wrap my brain around it last night, and I think this is what it is. You're at once totally far from the people that you're talking to, right? You're not in the same room. You're nowhere near them. It could be anywhere in the world. But at the same time, you're real intimate. Like, you're in my home, right? Or you're real up close. So there's this, it's discomforting and unnatural to be completely far, yet totally up close.
Right.
And so there's this intimate space, and people don't know what to do with it, because when you're in a conference room, you know how much space to stay away from people. You know what's appropriate. Right. But here we're a little bit out of space. And here's what I find makes it really challenging. One, people do feel uncomfortable on camera if they're not used to it. They don't know where to look. They don't know how to sit. They don't know how to be. They may be less likely to speak up. They may be more likely to glaze over. And what you don't realize that your job isn't just to sit there, but to actually hold someone's attention and to engage. Since we're used to sitting sort of lifelessly before our screens, we have to remember that when we're on some kind of meeting or pitch or something where it's not one to the masses, that your role there, especially as a presenter, is not just to present, but to engage. And that is a big challenge because often you can just look around the room and know if someone's engaged. But here you might have your camera on, active speaker. You might not have it on gallery, which I, by the way, recommend. So you can see everyone's faces in the room. But you want to be able to connect with who's there. And I will say this, Lisa, I think that since there are a lot of people who are really good at teaching people how to present on camera and all that stuff, there's a lot of focus on the window dressing, on the lighting and the mic and how does this look in the background? Fine. Or on the tech. There's a couple different platforms you can use. The quicker you just get on there, the better. Let's not overemphasize too much of the window dressing because the fact is, what's hard about being heard on video is that we're relying on things to be set up right rather than on what we need to say.
So Terri, can I jump on that? Because I'm looking at some of the comments on the side here. Someone joked that they're not nearly as good looking as Mario Lopez. And that's exactly what you're talking about is people are way more focused on what you're saying and how you're saying it than what's going on around you. Now, another good comment, Kristen Blount, thank you for joining us today. She's getting used to it, but she needs the energy she gets from the people in the room. So maybe you can speak a little bit to that. Okay.
You have energy coming through the wires. If you depend on other people's energy, then that means, obviously we all love an in-person thing. People who like to speak in front of people. Some people are really afraid of it. For people who are afraid of being in front of other people, this is heaven. But you don't really need their energy in the room because let's pretend you're assuming that everyone sitting in a room when you're in a room is giving you a lot of energy. They're not. You are responsible for your energy. So wait, what just happened here?
I just closed one of the polls. I just want to let you know, 24% of you are loving working from home. Actually, that was the exact same as yesterday. Today, 48% say it's working well. Yesterday, it was 62. And today, 28% can't wait to get back to the office. And yesterday it was 14. So apparently this is a day to go back. But all right, we have a new poll up. But keep going, Terri. Everybody knows those polls are there.
I know you think you need other people's energy, but you are responsible for your own energy. You bring it, and the more you're focusing on giving that energy, the more you'll get. What you're talking about is feedback. And if you don't hear that ripple of laughter through the room, you don't see the little smiles, there are things that get missed. There are human and social cues that get missed on video. But what I do when I'm presenting is, first of all, on a very technical basis, don't look at your hair down here and do this because it's obvious you're not looking. I look right at the camera. I'm just looking at the green light. And that gives the illusion that I'm looking at you, right? That you feel connected to me. So I make sure that even if I glance down and make sure everything's good, I stay focused there. But also, I want to walk you through 3 things here that are going to help you make your calls more effective, more focused, and more productive. And one of them, it's like the 3D to 2D, right? Like, how do you go 3D online? Well, the first D is determining the why. Because I think we have kind of started to treat these calls as a little bit casual. There's like, it's like a phone call. Well, are you on there? Are you ready? Are we all on? We need to when I get on to have a call, I am ready to go. And also it should be real clear why you're there. And I say why they're there, especially if it's more than one person. If there's going to be 2, 3, 5, 10 people on this call, and I'm sort of partly at least facilitating it or in charge of it, I say, okay, great. Thanks for being here. Here's why we're here. We're here to discuss the logo development for the podcast, which is actually a call I had. So let's talk about, our goal here today is we're not going to decide on the logo. We're going to decide on this, we're going to pick this, and we're going to determine our next step so we can meet again to finalize it. This call is going to go for about this long, and this is how we're going to know when we're done. If you start, the part of it's kind of like this aimless, agendaless call, which people have told me makes them crazy. We can't do that. Even though you could meander in, can I get you coffee? You could do that in person, but here, treat it like a show. And that means you start and you do lead with a spoiler. You have to say, here's what we're here for. In fact, one of my favorite books on this is called The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker. Her whole book is not about virtual meetings. It's about determining the purpose of a meeting. And the purpose of the meeting is not, I was on a call recently. It was like, we're going to do a check-in, a status check-in. Don't do that. Your purpose of your call should be specific, unique, and debatable. Specific, we're here to do this one thing. Unique, it's not like any other call we're going to do this week or this today. And debatable, it should be that someone goes, well, is that what we're doing on the call? You better debate it so we know why we're there. At least I found is that sometimes they're aimless and agendaless and people get restless.
Terri, I just want to tell you that Katie Redmond from JLL just said that this is, wow, so much better than anything she's seen on this topic so far. So good energy, good so far. Question though. One of the people also asked, what if you are used to relying on people's body language to tell you how you're doing or what you're saying? Like, how do you compensate for that on the other side?
Yes. You can't see people's body language unless you're in gallery view and you can kind of see, and people do feel a little awkward on camera. So they may not be their most natural. I want you to really ask yourself, because I'm going to argue this a bit and say that the critic, the part of your brain that's worried that you're not going to do a good job, the party that's telling you you're doing a bad job, is coming up with reasons why you won't do a good job. I don't see anyone's body language. And I know that I'm providing a level of energy and service that will be of use to people watching. I don't see anyone's body language. And I know I'm doing that because I'm not relying on the body language to tell me. I think that if you think I'm just better in person, I'm better in this. No, if you're real good, you'll be good anywhere. So learn to be good anywhere. And you do it by presuming that they're listening and acting as if they are. Because your critic might go, well, see, that guy's slouching. I was co-presenting with a friend, and there was a man stretched out in the third row, asleep, fast asleep, drooling. I took out my phone, took a picture of it so that I would always remember that someone's always going to be passing out during one of your talks and during one of your meetings. That is not my problem. Stop making other people's body language your problem. Deliver it with your own body language. Think about how you're serving the people there. That's critical. Because
somebody just said, what if somebody doesn't go on video? It's sort of the same thing then, right? If they're not on video, and I always hate that when they're like, Lisa, I can see you, but they're just like watching.
I'll say it right now, and I've been on with prospects and clients who don't turn their video on. And I go, so-and-so, why can't I see you? Well, I'm just like not dressed today. And I go, okay, so if I showed up at your house, would you open the door with a bag on your head? Is that what you would do? If I met you for coffee, or if I saw you in the grocery store, would you run away and hide? If you don't turn your video on, you're saying it's okay that people don't care about your presence. Mm-hmm. I don't care, and no one gives a flying crap if you have mascara on today or no pants. No one cares. Now, can we just talk about this? If you were in a room full of people and there was a full-length mirror across from you, it would be distracting. That was one of the things I found hard about dance, was because we would rehearse in front of a mirror, and I found I just would look anywhere except looking at myself. I was incredibly judgmental of myself, and I didn't like what I saw. Mm-hmm. What's uncomfortable about this is that you can see your own reflection as you're talking, so don't look at it. I minimize it. I look at the camera. This is what I look like. It doesn't matter what I think of it or what you think of it. This is what you got for the next few minutes. Mm-hmm. We need to get past the appearance. People don't nearly notice. I guarantee you, go do your next meeting with no makeup on. See if anyone noticed a hill of beans worth a difference. No. But I want to get to the messaging part, because this is the heart of it. How you present and look, part of it, fine. The tech, meh, just get it working. Okay. Here's the important thing. If you think that the way in which you present and if you have a nice enough background and lighting is going to win the day for you, you're in trouble, because that's like assuming that an oven is going to fix your recipe. Oven can't fix your recipe. It can only make it hotter. So,
Terri, quick question. Yeah. I'm going to close out this poll. 64% said it's lack of feedback and not being able to assess how it's going that is challenging for them. So back to sort of
right. So you're going to have to change your metrics, aren't you? Because you can't. So we can either use that as an excuse and continue to suck, or we can decide that we're going to be clear and we're going to bring what we think the group needs, not judge on what they're doing at the minute. Think about it.
The reality is this isn't changing, right?
It's not changing.
Somebody asked me, they said, Lisa, what is the purpose of the webinars? Like, what are you doing these for? And I'm like, because I think our whole lives and our whole dynamic is changing. And I got to remember to look at the camera myself here. And everybody needs more tools and new tools. And if I can help bring that to people right now while we're all home, then that's the purpose of these webinars. And this is not going to change. We're going to be doing so many more video calls. And I think we all have to have a crash course in how to do them better, which again, Terri, is what you're an expert at. So
yes, I really think we have to stop looking for excuses about why this is hard. Too bad. It's too bad. This is what we're doing. And you can be amazing on camera if you decide. Here's an analogy I've been thinking of. Present online as if there is no video. Present as if the power's gone out, it's the pitch black, and you're huddled in a room full of people who would like to learn something that you have to say, but they can't see you and you can't see them. If I present as if I'm in the dark and there's nowhere to see anyone, and I am urgently trying to help the people there, I'm going to get real clear on my communication. So there has to be a way for you to think of this, and it can't be, but I can't see, and Who cares? I'm talking to a green button right now. I'm not looking at anyone, but I am here to serve one need. Stop thinking about what you're getting back from people and start giving it. What do they need right now?
So that goes back to the message. Do you think that we need to be more focused back? You were talking about message and making sure your message was really clear. That's something that you worked with me on quite a bit when we were media training, was thin slicing down. And rather than us all getting on these calls and waiting to see what's going on, because we're all fairly new to this, it's again, dialing in exactly what you want to say.
Yes. Yes. Let's talk about that. And I'll get back to the talking stick thing, because that is a point. When you have multiple people and everyone's talking, if I'm facilitating, I say, hey guys, hang on, because talking over each other is really critical in this, we're going to miss stuff. Let me say this point, and then I hand it off. So if I go, okay, I'm going to make this point, and I go, Lisa, please, you had something to say. Mm-hmm. Andrea, please, I think you wanted to say that. If you're facilitating the meeting, it's your job to acknowledge. And by the way, use people's names a lot, because then I'm here. People can see me. People forget that you can see them in a way. Now let's go to.
That's a super good point. I don't know that we know to put a facilitator. Does anybody? I'm throwing this to the chat. Did you all know that we should have a facilitator, and that
someone should be in charge of the meeting? There are no
that's a really good.
It's chaos if not. And when I'm on a meeting, I run it. If you can imagine that, because I think it's the best use of everyone's time, because we need to get to the point, get people back doing what they need to be doing.
Yep.
So as far as the message goes, when I was saying about the oven, that message is so important. And a lot of times in person, we get a little lazy, a little bloated around the edges, because, we're here, we're going to show our slides and Do not hide behind your slides if you're using slides, okay? If you're using them. Do not hide behind them, and do whatever you planned on presenting today. Say it's a half-hour call. Cut it in half. If you have 3 priorities for your call today, you have no priorities as far as I'm concerned. There should be one function and one purpose and one action you want the people on that call to take, whether it's a meeting and you need your crew to go do something, or you're pitching something and you want to get to the next call where you're going to close that deal.
Right.
Maybe intro, meet and greet, one goal. If it's, we're doing a check-in status, just want to meet and greet and get to know everyone. What a waste of time. Make it so clear, and it is a service to the people you're talking to. So rather than think about, how much information can I force feed these foie gras geese? I'm going to just jam stuff down their gullet. No, what's one thing that would be helpful to them, helpful to you, and what's the next step to making it happen? And you wouldn't believe how much people are packing 3 suitcases for an overnight trip when it comes to presentations. You've got to scale it back. One thing, you wonder why meetings are aimless? This is a time for us to skinny up our meetings, because you can meet all day and any time of day. So then let's keep them tight and let's keep them focused.
Yep. Well, actually, I think then that also goes to timing, right? Where this is a new set of timing for meetings, that we just block an hour into our calendar, but maybe we don't need that now that we have video, because we're not all getting into a conference room. We're not getting settled. We're not trying to this. We don't have to pick up our stuff, right? So let's be really tight with the timing that we're setting these meetings to.
Edit. Come ready to go, and then say, great, I think we've covered it. Andrea, John, Joanne, did you have anything else that you wanted to add? No? Okay, good. Meeting adjourned. Bye now. Yeah. That's it. So make sure and one of the things too is making sure people feel included, because if you have your things set to highlight the speaker and someone else who isn't speaking, I call them out. I want to know who's on the meeting. If I'm in a meeting with someone, I go, please give me the names of who's there, because sometimes people are sharing a computer and they're sitting off to the side like this, and you only see half their head. Literally, they want to not be seen so they can watch you without you watching them. It's weird, because if I came to your office, would you hide under the table? Would you stand half outside the door like this? No. Show your face. And if for some reason you can't be seen, make sure that you make your presence known. And that means that if you're facilitating, you call out the people in that meeting. What do you think, John? You've been really quiet. Is there something that you wanted to add here? Because I want to make sure everyone's heard. Whoa, okay. Now we're accountable. Make everyone accountable. Give everyone space to weigh in. And also make sure that it's real clear while they're there, why they're there. You wouldn't believe, I think that we go, I have information to share. Great. I can Google information. What's the point of today? What do you need me to do? I'm on a board. I won't say what, because I don't want to look like I'm criticizing the board, but they're like, oh, we're going to meet twice a month now. I go, why? I love you, but why? What are we going to do on that call? Like, and I'm not trying to be like, it's not important enough for me. That's not the point. I want to make it razor sharp about what are we going to do here? Because otherwise we'll just talk and talk and talk over each other and disagree about stuff. And I hate that. And everyone does. I think it's a great service to send an email before and say, here's what we're going to accomplish on the call. And then when you're on the call, say, here's what we're going to accomplish on the call today. Here's all that we're going to do. Here's the only things I'm going to tell you today. Then they don't panic that you're going to keep them forever. Would this work in an interview? The idea of, oh, of course. I mean, you can have some small talk. I'm not saying you have to be a machine. But I mean, look, I'm in New York City. When people come on, they go, how are you in New York? Because everyone, we know we're in the belly of the beast here. And we talk a little bit. You still can do that. But then you just want to be respectful of someone's time and be like, I know, it's crazy. Anyway, so I want to make sure we get to the thing. Service. Not, I have things to tell people. Good. Write it down. Send it to me. If you can do it in an email, you shouldn't have a meeting. So what I've done with groups is to train them to think about, what is it? Let's talk about this meeting of coming up. Let's get it down sharp. I'm going to give you an example. I won't say the company, but I will say they're people in wealth management, because I work with a lot of people in wealth management. And one of their biggest clients are corporate institutions like endowments, things like that. And those companies already have someone who handles their wealth. And they go in, I go, how do you start the presentation? And they go, well, we tell them a little bit about ourselves. And then we talk about, what we do. I go, do you think literally anyone cares? They would rather be eating and staring at YouTube. Why are you telling them who you are when they don't care? What are we supposed to do? I said, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll call him John. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but are you not in there to home wreck? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, they're already with another company. You're there to steal the wife away from the spouse, or the husband away from the wife. You're there to home wreck. You want them to leave this spouse and go with you. Yes. Admit it. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what business is. So you're there to home wreck. So you better get to the point real quick. So start with what the problem is. Hey guys, I know this is not something you want to deal with and you're already happy with who you're with. Here's one area where there could be a problem. And we think it is our duty and our service to make sure you know that this is how we handle it. You're going to home wreck. You better put in quite a pitch. Do people break up actual relationships by going, I'm just over here and I'd love to take you to dinner if you want to? No, they go, you can't. He's the worst boyfriend ever. I'd be the best. Here's why. You don't have to be a jerk. You don't have to be a braggart, but people bury the lead. Well, I'll start with a little bit about myself. I'll give you some context for the project. Yeah, why don't you go do that? I'll be on Twitter. Thanks. Start already. It's amazing how much time we waste. I'm telling you.
Do you know, years back, you told me when people are doing public speaking, what is it? They always start with these like sort of filler things when they first get to the mic, like, be brief.
For those of you who don't know me.
And you're always like, just cut it out. Just get into it. No one could. And now I see it all the time when I see people speak, they get up there and they start like these filler sentences in the very beginning versus just like diving into why they're up there.
Why do you think they do it? I had a very high profile client. It was the head of a major consumer magazine. And she was like, well, I do it because I do it to like relax myself. I go, do yoga before you get out there. Don't waste my time with your relaxation. Take care of it before. I'm not here to watch you relax. Take care of it. Come out there ready to help me. That's all I care about. Anyone on my call is like, how's this going to affect me? What do I need to do? Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Stop throat clearing at the start. There's small talk to warm people up, but come on. And with a group of, this is the great thing, whether it's a group of 5 or a group of 50 people, you don't have to yell any louder. It's the same dynamic. If you had a group of 1,000 people in a room, you have to project bigger. With this, you can stay very intimate. Again, you're in a room in the dark, huddling together, giving them information they need.
Right.
That's how you approach this. Pretend there's no visual.
So Terri, I'm thinking about like we've had people on all week talking about networking, business development, how we use our voice. Yesterday it was about jobs and not just about if you need a new job, but how are you positioning yourself in your current job? I think this is an amazing opportunity for people to project themselves in an entirely new way with their own team and change a dynamic, right? Because if they can speak well, present well, and be heard, they could be heard in an entirely different way right now than maybe they have before by using these types of, when I say not tips and tricks, but this is a style of presenting. So I think that's an amazing opportunity right now. And then I also have friends
it really is
trying to do sales and business development, or whether it's new partnerships, or, everything's shifting right now. Right. So, how can we align? How can we this? And exactly what you're talking about, keeping it super tight, super topical, and thoughtful, and then just getting off the phone or getting off the video. Right. We don't need to
also lead to the next call. I mean, look, I feel like I know I'm being a bit of a tough ass. I'm part of this is entertainment value. It's fun to do, right? But the fact is, some of you have been really spoiled by having the company of other people when you close sales, when you do pitches. I know you like it. I'm sorry that the world's in lockdown, but let me tell you, the biggest consulting gigs, the biggest projects that I've ever closed in my life, which I've done in the past 2 years, I did them right here in this seat on this camera, having never met the people before in my life. The biggest. So you don't tell me you need it. What's that?
Terri, I wasn't even watching that our 25 minutes is up. I am getting bombarded with text message and comments here asking to extend the session. Do you have time? Are you available?
I got nowhere to go. No, that's not true. I do have a call at 1, but I'm happy to stay if you are. But Lisa, I know you're very busy too.
You have a few minutes. Do you know, I cut the word busy out of my vocabulary a year ago.
Oh, I love this. That is a great idea.
Do you know why? Because busy, you can't control, but your schedule, you can. So I say all the time that I'm overscheduled because I can control schedule. But everybody, busy is this like throwaway term that everybody says, oh, I'm so busy. I'm busy. I've got busy. That was like this word.
No one's busy anymore.
I cut busy out, but I will say almost every day. Almost every day I'm overscheduled. Especially when I decided that I was going to do a live webinar every single day.
I mean, you're insane for that. I think I would do them like lunch on Fridays with Lisa. I think would be reasonable, or at least maybe you do them for a while so you get the hang of it, and then you scale back, because it is a lot. And I'm seeing a lot of really lovely feedback. So I put a little link in there if people want to stay in touch with me, going to terrisentme.com. It's just a great way to get on the list. I have a free guide there called 5 Ways to Unlock Your Creative Genius, because all of this, the messaging, everything comes down to being able to access the part of you that isn't worried about window dressing, that isn't worried about other people's body language, but your own creative genius. Most people bury that lead. And if they could just bring it out, it would be fantastic. But I'm getting to a lot of energy from this. And I don't see body language, but I feel the energy from you and from the people on this call. So I know it's not real because it's virtual. It's about as real as it gets. And as I said, I've worked with people and had relationships with them only virtually and met them years later. So don't underestimate the potential of the human spirit to feel very connected to other humans through this particular platform and way. And don't underestimate.
We'll extend it to 12:55 for people who want to stay on. If you have a 1 o'clock, is that enough time, Terri?
Yeah, then I'll have 5 minutes till my next thing.
Is that okay? Should we do it? Should we say, what do you want? Fine. You tell me.
Let's just go until 12:55, and then I will go and tell people that I will be 5 minutes till I get to the other thing. It's fine. I'm not going anywhere. That's the great thing. There's 0 commuting time.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to say is that all of the feedback. Why am I doing this every day? I am so thrilled. We get feedback every day after the shows of how much people appreciate this and that they're getting a lot out of it. And so I want to thank everybody who's been messaging me about this, because I'm really psyched. It is a lot of work, but I think it's a great value right now. I think people are getting a lot out of it. So again,
this is a great opportunity. Like, people are like all doomsday, oh no, the whole economy is going to slow down. And a financial advisor friend of mine says, are you going to participate in the recession, or are you going to participate in it, or are you going to resist it? Because the fact is, we've said we are busy for a long time. Oh, I wish I had time. Now you've got demands and you've also got time. And this is the time to invest in the kind of thing that maybe you should have been investing in all along. Because the fact is, as I've said, video has a way of exposing weaknesses, and it's why you're hearing, but I need people, I need to be in rooms. Well, because you're being exposed in ways that you feel uncomfortable about. So get real strong in it. Get stronger at it. Speak it out.
I think everybody knows, all of my clients, I refer Terri to everybody. She's trained my clients in corporate presentation as well as doing TED Talks. And it all comes from when you and I were media training together. And Terri would give me all of this feedback. So we would do these mock presentations where she was either the attendee or she was on the other end of a line or whatever it was. And we'd have all these notes, and then we would record the sessions, and I'd have to go back on my own and watch them. And I'd say, oh my God, she's right. Like, you don't realize it. So that's such the interesting thing about right now. As much as it's different, we're not commuting, we're not running around, we're not going to meetings, we're not going to practice, we're not. We have so much time to make ourselves better if that's what we choose to do. And so just recording some of these videos or doing some mock things with some of your colleagues, if you have a presentation, I know that another one of my clients, I'm hoping she's on today, was talking about how they do very visual presentations to their clients and that this is so challenging to now do it over video. Well, why not do that mock presentation ahead of time with your team and then I'll watch it together so you can see the dynamics and you can see what you're doing. And I said, why don't you have Terri train with you on this and help you notice the things that you are saying and showing on video that you don't even know you are, or where you could be stronger. And I think that that's where, while we're all home the next few weeks, there's so much opportunity to get better because let's be honest, we may go back to work. I do believe it's going to be a while before your boss says, yeah, jump on that plane for a meet and greet with somebody, right? That's going to be a while.
God. It's going to be a while. And so just be aware of the voice in your head telling you, but I can't because of this. And I can't because of body language. I can't because of this. I tell that critic to get in the back seat and shut up while I'm driving because we need to focus. You need to keep the wheels of business turning. Stop worrying about what you don't have. Imagine if we only ever presented online and then you were asked to go into rooms with people. But are there people? But there's germs. What do I wear? Do I have to wear pants? I don't own pants. Imagine if we went the other way. How scary that would be. There's no reason to think in this little screen. You can be bigger. You can be actually more personal and intimate. When you go to speak online, I know you had Candy O'Terry, who's of course a professional voice person, but somehow you put someone on a stage or in front of a microphone and they start to talk like this because they think they're speaking to the world. Just come in and talk. It can be real intimate. I speak to everyone within 12 inches of this microphone. I mean, within very close to the mic, but very close. The difference between here, you and me is actually very close. So I speak. The word that I'm coming up with is conspiratorially, even though it's not conspiracy, but really confiding and making people feel you're connected to them and hear it in your voice is everything. Because, if we're not on here, we're in a room by ourselves. So the burden is on us to deliver energy, to deliver value, to be of service. And when you're of service and you know exactly what your message is and why it matters, and that is something that I help with. I help people get to that real clear because people get nervous. I don't know what to do because they don't quite know what they're saying. When I've worked with people and gotten their message down and made it so clear that it was easy, then they were able to run with it and they felt terrific. In fact, I trained a whole group of advisors digitally right over here and did it and had them present to each other and present to me. So I did some presenting and then I worked with them and said, okay, let's hear you do it. And they practiced it together so they didn't have to learn it on the real call. So it's worth it. And what I'm thinking of doing is making it really accessible to do a one-off session with me. I mean, I can certainly talk to people about that, to even get a taste of it and a sense of it before they decide if they want to keep going. It can change your whole life. This is it. It's you and a camera now. What are you going to do with it?
Well, and I always think about the fact that for years, we graduated 25 years ago. We've practiced being in meetings and we've practiced presentation and we've practiced we've been told how you walk in a room, how you sit at a table, where you sit at the table. And these are long time practice skills. And now this is just a whole new skill set. And I have to remind people, it's like when you decide to start working out again, it's flexing a muscle if you haven't. Right? It can be tiring. Did you read the article the other night? I saw it. I think it was in the Wall Street Journal about why are we all tired? Right? Because I
want to see that because I'm feeling it.
Yeah. We're exhausted. Everybody's exhausted because we're using our brains in entirely different ways than we have. We're making decisions differently every single day. Even if you had to make different decisions every day before, it was still generally, I'm going to stop here for my coffee. I might not get my coffee.
Right.
Do I pick up the dry cleaning? I go here. It was still like within a certain multiple choice, right? Now it's the whole world is an entirely different decision making every day. And we're using skill sets differently and we're communicating differently. And all of our dynamics are entirely different than they were. And we have also, and this is what sort of stresses me out and keeps me up at night, is that I know there's so much opportunity right now and I want to find it. And that's why, again, I think with these webinars, right, people say, wow, Lisa, you just pivoted and threw up a webinar. Well, I did. I'm going to thank my team again. They worked full time all weekend to pull this off to start on Monday. But I think that that's where there's an opportunity, right?
Show up.
Well, and to give
everyone who can do it is doing it, and good.
Right. So there's opportunities right now. And I think that it's all in just helping redefine, even though it's a little hard at first, and taking that time to watch your video, taking that time to even come on this video and learn something new is all part of what we need to do right now to be better and to be ready.
Yes. And it starts with the meeting with people, because you might start to network. It's a fantastic time to network because you can be like, great, let's meet for a virtual coffee. It's 25 minutes. You're going to talk to them or whatever. And it's even then, there's can be chit chat and getting to know each other. There's no reason why you can't. But again, with any call, it's define the why, dial in the message, determine the next steps. And that is going to be critical for any meeting, whether you're pitching the big pitch or you're bringing the team together. Even if you're checking in with your team, don't call it a check-in. Be like, do I need to be that? Be like, today we're going to decide on this. Today we're going to find out what if this is working. The more specifically you can define a message, I know the better it is. The more specifically you can define your meetings, the more powerful they will be. So I'm loving this.
Added time today in the 4 more minutes. Does anybody else have any specific questions?
Yeah, please.
I'm looking at these here. All of our recordings will be on YouTube next week, and you can find those on our website or click through to the Nickerson on the YouTube website. If you have ideas, suggestions, critical feedback, I strongly suggest send me a message on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow Nickerson on LinkedIn for more. What, Terry? What were you saying?
You can find us on every platform, but I would love to hear from people. I see a question here about standing versus sitting. If you have a standing desk and you're able to get the camera level, again, no one can tell. It's more like, is your energy, like when I'm in a group, I like to stand. When I'm going to teach and I don't sit. So, but when I'm here, I do sit because it just makes, what am I going to do? You're going to, hi, everybody, I'm up here. It doesn't really work. So it doesn't matter so much. It's where you get your most energy. And if you like to stand, then set it up as a standing desk.
That's what I was just going to say, Terry. If that's maybe even in the beginning where they're most comfortable, because I will say, even since we were sitting here, sometimes I start to catch myself slouching. Right while you're talking, and I'm like, oh, I need to sit back up again. And it's really about where I am in the screen, right? And I'm trying not to bob and weave, right? So Jeff, honestly, it might be that standing is almost like that power pose. You feel like you're in control of the space. Yeah. And then so actually, that was exactly your point, right, Terry? Is it's how you feel.
I like to sit on video because I just think it's meant to be connection. It's conversation, not just presentation, right? This is a conversation. I obviously prepared some thoughts so that I made sure that I could give you as much as I, had and didn't wing it. But at the same time, it's meant to have an interplay. What do you think is the best platform? Oh God, here we go with the tech. Skype was always, I think Skype lost an opportunity there because people had to have an account and a login. I use Zoom, even though they piss me off sometimes too. Lisa uses a different platform. Try them. They're all going to be competitive.
Terry, I know that you're talking about not a lot of window dressing, but you're sitting with a mic. I went and bought my mic, $120. I do sound way better though. Like, I don't know. I think $120 for a mic goes a long way.
Why is the mic in front of your face?
I don't need it in front of my face.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a Samsung, and it's $127. And I keep it about right at.
Sounds good. It's yours right is there. Picking up sound like this. Mine's like unidirectional. Mine was like mine's the Audio Technica. It was like not even $100. Yeah. So it's worth it. You can use a lapel mic, Julie, as long as it's. The problem with those is that they rub, and if you've jewelry on, blah blah blah. They're hitting things. I personally think lapel mics are low sometimes, but I haven't seen a good one that people use at home. It's better than not using a mic because you're not getting the echo. You're hearing the voice is warmer. And it does make a difference. I mean, audio absolutely makes a difference more than even just the visual. So
Yeah.
it's critical.
We have one more minute. I really want to be respectful of your time. Terri,
Yes,
really,
please.
thank you so much for extending
Thank
today.
you. This is fun.
Yep. I have people literally texting me, asking me to have you back. So we'll have to talk about that. Anybody else? One last question before Terri runs. Anyone?
And you can email me. There's my email. Or you can go to terrisentme.com and you can stay in touch with me that way if we haven't met before. Thank you both for this. You're all the bomb. That's my friend John Lincoln who came. Yes. Thank you, Chip. Thanks, John. Susan, thank you. Really, really good to see you guys. This was fun.
Julie,
and of course,
Julie Brown was on today. Of course, Julie was my first guest. Nothing like being my guinea pig first guest, but she trained with Terri Trespicio.
Julie needs no training on speaking, by the way. Julie and I worked on messaging for her.
Okay.
She's a real pro speaker, so she doesn't need my help in that regard. I think everyone needs help fine-tuning a message because we're all so close to them. Yeah. So if there's something that would be helpful to you, please reach out.
I'm going to throw one little more pitch and I'm going to let you go. Sure. The other thing that I've wanted to do forever is a TED Talk. And I think a lot of people want to do a TED Talk. And you are an expert at helping people thin slice down there what that is. So this is another great time. We have more time, right?
I don't know when TEDx events are going to happen either. So you have time to practice it.
But even to think about it right now, right? While we're home, like what would that story be? Or maybe you want to start writing content, or maybe you want to start doing all the things that you've not had time to do because you've been busy all the time. And Terri is available because, quite frankly, your speaking engagements were canceled. So you've got space right now to fill for corporate messaging, presentation training. What else you got, Terri?
Corporate training, TEDx training, all of that comes down to messaging for whatever. Oh, someone asked before too, because we're in this critical time, should your messaging reflect that? If it doesn't, it's going to be tone deaf. Just be careful not to say things that are starting to sound cliche. Make sure that you're not just talking about it as a way to grab on it, to be like, look, I'm relevant. I'm talking about this illness. It's more like, how does it affect the people in the way that you're helping them? If you install pools, that is going to come from a different angle of the pandemic. If you are a wedding planner, you're going to have a different thing. For me, I'd say that be careful of how you talk to your clients about the pandemic. We're all very aware of what's happening, but I did see on one, I won't say the name, but a major financial institution, and you go to their site and it's a pop-up message that was clearly written by compliance. And it said, due to COVID-19, our offices may not be as available and you may not be able to reach us. Now, these are people who handle your money. If during the scariest moment in time, which we're at right now, nearing the peak of it, your biggest and best corporate message was, we might not be here for you, you really better rethink that. And so I'm already talking to someone who works for that firm. And I was like, you really need to put this up the chain. How embarrassing that during the one time I might need to talk to you, you're warning me you may not be available. You better make yourself available. And that message should say, I know it's scary. We're here. Call us anytime. It's still the same number. Stop worrying about covering your ass during this pandemic. Instead, look at ways you can serve more. And Lisa's doing that through this. I'm doing it. I'm running a series of free workshops all week. And if you're interested, just let me know. Actually, I'll put it in here too. We have another tonight and then 2 more tomorrow. It is a free session that helps you tap your genius by getting it out on the page. And if that sounds like fun, we've been having a great time this week. We have almost 400 people who have signed up to join us, and we would love to have you in the day we have left. Why not?
Terri, I gotta let you go. You have 2 minutes to your next call.
I know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Louis Bello coming on. He is a super well-known singer and producer in Boston. He and his whole band had coronavirus. They have been recovering. Tomorrow will be their first show since they've been sick, and I'm really excited to have them on. So Friday's Entertainment Friday, and we're really looking forward to having them. Also, I just want to remind everybody to try your jeans on, right? It's been a couple of weeks now. You better give yourself a gut check. For real? Okay. Put your jeans on. All right. We will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.